What's up, everyone? Crazy Jimmy here, coming at you on a Saturday night. I'm going to do this one standing up. You know, I see Vinyl Richie standing up. I see Cosmic Brian standing up. Why not stand up for a video? So, today's video is going to be, and actually I'm kind of facing the other, I'm giving you like a glimpse of the other side. I got, my wife's some minifigures. Got some concert posters up there, Boston Spaceships, Guided by Voices, all great stuff. But anyways, today I'm going to do, or for this video, I'm going to do The Residents. I'm not like a hardcore Residents collector, like some people may be, but I certainly do love The Residents. I love the, like, Zappa-esque essence, and I love how everything's very original with The Residents. So if you haven't heard of any of the Residents albums, you got to check them out. They're catchy, but they're different, definitely unique. They have their own sound. There's no question. Yeah, it's going to bring to mind some of the popular sides of Zappa, not the doo-wop side, but just some of the, some of those glimpses, shall we say. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go backwards, kind of, and end with the oldest album. So, the newest album I have from them, I think this is the newest. This is Residue. Yeah, 1993. Residue of the Residents. So this would be right here. This would be a B-side and stuff that wasn't released. There's stuff on here that was supposed to be on like Eskimo. There's a few things here from Commercial. There's a couple things here from another one from Commercial that was supposed to be on it, Mark of the Mole. But yeah, so there's the back of it. Kind of has some liner notes there. It tells you where they should have been released. But yeah, Residue of the Residents. And I don't know if you guys all know, but they had their own label they started called Ralph Records. So everything they released was on Ralph Records. And I don't know if you know the story of the Residents and how they got their name, but apparently they sent off a tape of a demo tape of their first album, and they got it back. I guess they didn't have a band name there or something. I don't know, but they got it back. A rejection letter, and it was it was labeled to the Residents. So, because I guess they didn't know who to label it to, so just the residents of the address they sent it to. So that's kind of how they came up with the name The Residents. So, just something, some information there for you. All right, next up is Eskimo. And a lot of people really love this album and consider this one of their better, top three. I don't know if I'd put it in my top three. There's other ones I like better, which I'll get to, but this is a gatefold right there. And of course, they never show their faces. They always have the eyeballs on, even when they play live. This is actually the rare white pressing, I believe. Here's the inner sleeve, which I'll show you. I'll show you the pressing. So there it is. Definitely white. There's the label. This is an original pressing of Eskimo. I'm not sure how many they pressed to this, but I'm sure there was quite a few. But they always limited their LPs, my understanding. So everything was always limited. But when they limited them, they were, limited to 10,000, limited to 15,000, really depending on the pressing. This one here, I'm not sure of. I think this one was actually more limited than that, but I'm not sure of the number on Eskimo. There you go. Next up is one of my favorite ones from them. This is the Residents Commercial album. Now, what's cool about this one is there's 40 tracks, and each one is no more than a minute. And you'd think, these are all the tracks, 20 each side. You would think that it would be hard to get into. It'd be like really difficult to get into. But the way they sequenced it, It's not. It sounds. This is like their poppiest album in their most commercial effort, or one of their most commercial efforts. I'm going to be showing one soon that's commercial as well, but or poppy. But this one here is pretty good, and you can really get into it regardless of how long the songs are because of the way it's sequenced. There is some guest musicians on this. Fred Frith is on this. Chris Cutler is on this. Snakefinger, of course. Gotta love Snakefinger, who released some records on Ralph as well. There's the Ralph label. All right. Next up is probably my favorite from them, and this was originally released as a 7-inch EP called Duck Stab, and this is right here. This is the release from 1977. There, it's got the old hyper sticker on there, and then this is Duck Stab, but also has Buster and Glenn. So there's like 2 EPs make the album up. This is the second pressing. You can always tell between the first and the second. First of all, the vinyl is pretty much the same. The dead wax is the same between the first and the second. The only difference really is the sleeve. The first pressing is all green. The boxes on here are green. And the second pressing, which is this one, has the yellow boxes. So, but again, the record is, what it is. So, dead wax matches the first edition. So, I didn't feel the need to go out and find a first pressing of this particular one because it's just really going to be the sleeve. But this is really catchy indie pop from 1977. You really can't go wrong with this. If you want to get started with this band, I suggest starting with Duck Stab in this full-length double EP, Duck Stab and Buster and Glenn. This is the one I suggest getting, and see if you can get into it. Next up is, this is their 4th album called Not Available. The Residents, Not Available. I love the cover. It's one of my favorite covers they did. There, let me show you. This is an original pressing. And you'll know because of the label is the big one, but also the dead wax is different between the first and the second because they had to recut this. So it's got the purple label. And they had to recut this because apparently there was like a small defect on the A side, but and they came out warped for some reason, but I didn't get, my first pressing doesn't have the defect and it's not warped, so I guess I was one of the lucky ones. So there's the back of it for Not Available. The rumor is that this album was the music from this album was really old, from like 73 and 74, but that's not the case. This one was released, though, let's see, 1978. This one came out. So there you go. But I guess the rumor is it was 1974 when this was stuff was written. I don't know. Who knows? All right. Next up is I want to say this is their second one because I don't have their third one, Third Reich and Roll, which I had it and I got rid of it. I hated it. A lot of people love Third Reich and Roll. I couldn't stand it. But this one is a different story. This is excellent. Fingerprints. And I love, again, such an awesome cover. Right there. This is the second pressing. I think 1,000 were pressed. The first pressing, only 1,000 were pressed as well. Here, let me show you this is a beautiful sleeve, too. This sleeve is nice and minty. Let's get the vinyl out for you, show you that. Whee. Whoop. There it is. Of course, the Ralph Records label, which we all know and love. Right there. My head's getting cut off. I'm standing up and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to have to get some lessons from like Vinyl Richie. Alright, so there's that. Go ahead and pocket that back up. Did I show you the back cover of this? It's really cool. It's got a live shot of them right there. And I guess someone stole one of the eyeballs, so that's why one of them is wearing a funky mask, and they're like dressed up like mummies in this one. It's cool. Really cool stuff, man. Gotta love the Residents. I'm sure some of you probably are like, who the hell are the Residents? Yeah. Really, check it out. I think you'll love their 70s and 80s output, for sure. Not all of it, but I think you'll dig a lot of it. All right. Now, this is probably my favorite. First, I'm going to show you the second press, which is this. And you'll know it's a second press because it doesn't have the Beatles cover, which I'm going to show you next. But there it is. It looks like they've got like shrimp heads on. Really cool. That is the first press, which I'll be showing you. But this is the second. Of course, I have it because I love the cover. And it was pretty cheap when I got it. And now for the holy grail of Residents collectors. This is the original pressing in the shrink with the defamed Beatles. So I guess there was a complaint, so they had to repress it and repackage it. But this is 1974. And let me tell you, when you hear this, you're going to be like, how is this album from 1974? It's so modern and unique. You would swear it was brand new, like just released. This has never sounded outdated. I don't think it ever will. Love the cover. I love the label. This is never going to sound dated. It's just so different. So different. I can't even explain how zany and different this is. And there's the back. You can see the shrimp heads on the back of this one. There. It's got some liner notes on it, which are really cool. And they call themselves, let's see, Paul McCrawfish, John Crawfish, George Crawfish, and Ringo Starfish. Crazy stuff. You've read about them in Time, Newsweek, New York Times. Here's the big beat sound of that fantastic, phenomenal foursome, Residents. Yeah, that's nonsense. I'll read you some of the liner notes. The Residents began collecting interesting and unusual tapes about 8 years ago in an effort to expand their awareness of the very nature of sound. Tapes came from everywhere. Cassettes from soldiers in Vietnam singing songs with impromptu instrumentation. Reels from secondhand shops, sound effects, and bird call collections from garage sales. And yes, even a few bootleg tapes of well-known pop artists going avant-garde between takes, which were purchased on the black market and are stored in a local bank vault. The Residents not only collected other people's tapes, but also gained widespread notoriety for their unusual recordings, sometimes jokingly referred to as the San Mateo Sound. The underground network carried their reputation across the ocean, where it finally hit the ears of then unknown Britishman Snakefinger Littman. Packing a few clothes, he flew directly to San Mateo, California, where the Residents then had their sound studios in the hopes of studying tapes of early Cajun music. The Residents were alleged to have recorded while in college in Louisiana. Snakefinger had also brought an acquaintance that he had met in the woods of Bavaria while on an expedition there for Britain. The friend was none other than the mysterious Ensenada, who had developed a complex musical system based upon phonetics. For 6 months, Snakefinger, Ensenada, who spoke very little English, and the Residents worked together recording and listening to tapes. A few lucky people were even able to catch impromptu performances by the mysterious Ensenada and Snakefinger at several San Francisco's folk and jazz clubs. The Residents noted with Warner Brothers record exec Hal Halverstad over the rights to the Snakefinger Ensenada Residents tapes, but Warner Brothers, hit by a sudden slump in record sales, decided the audience appeal was too limited, and at the last moment withdrew their support. I don't know how true that is. So, on the first album, Ralph proudly carries the banner previously dropped by Warner Brothers. Yeah, it's their record label. Listen closely to this record. Let the strangeness wear off through a couple of plays. Soon, you too will whistle the merry tunes and wonder along with the residents who that old man Ensenada really was. So yeah, I mean, there's sampling going on here. There's found sounds. It's so ahead of its time. It's not even funny. Only 1,000 were pressed to this. I believe 100 of the 1,000 were thrown out because they were warped. So there's like 900 left. And who knows how many of those have been thrown out or melted. I don't think there's many more than like 500 or 600 of these left in existence that can be played, that haven't been thrown out. So if you do see one of these, pick it up. If you're a record collector, you really need to have this. It's got to be in your collection if you're a record collector. It really does. Even if you don't like it, it's so classic. It's just so unique and original for a 1974 recording. Actually, a lot of these songs were written and put to tape before 74. So we're talking 1971, 72, 73. So check it out. Let me know what you think, especially of this one, but check out some of the other stuff I showed you. I'm sure there's plenty there to like if you haven't heard of the Residents. So thanks for watching. Please hit that bell. Please subscribe. Please comment. All the good stuff. Take care.